Okay, good morning to all of you. Today I am going to discuss about DGPS surveying. Yesterday we have discussed about LIDAR surveying. We have discussed how we can use LIDAR for different types of terrain mapping for different applications. So in case of landscape planning, land information system, we need to have precise information of Earth object, or you can say precise information about each urban features for getting better land information system. So for this, we need to have a technique that provides us the accurate positioning of that object on the Earth in respect to the global coordinate system. So GPS, as all we know that GPS is a instrument that can be used to provide you the exact positioning of any object on the Earth surface feature, and it provides us the data in the form of latitude, longitude, and elevation. So the GPS survey is very important when we are talking about the accuracy of the position, when we are talking about the accuracy of exact location of any object on the Earth surface feature. So today's topic is about DGPS survey. Today we will discuss some basics of GPS. Then we will see what are the errors in GPS surveying and how we can overcome the errors in GPS surveying by using DGPS. As all we know that the full form of GPS is Global Positioning System, and in some cases it is also known as Navstar, and its full form is Navigation System Timing and Ranging. A GPS receiver is an accessory. Okay, it's a kind of instrument, so it cannot be replacement for the map, compass, or altimeter, but it can provide you the exact positioning. It can provide you the navigational information about the object on the Earth surface feature. So sometimes we call it as a navigation system. GPS is sometimes known as the navigation system because it provides us the navigational information, direction, location, and everything. So, but it is very important to know that it is not a replacement of a map. Okay, map is having other advantages. GPS is having another advantages. Okay, and it is a instrument. GPS is a instrument. It is a kind of accessory. So GPS, what GPS does? GPS actually provides us the positioning and the time. Okay, so the time is an important factor when we are measuring the position. Time has been a limiting factor in a lot of science, in a lot of measurement, in a lot of applications. So GPS provides us the positioning as well as the time. Like when we are navigating through the ships, when we are navigating in the aeroplane, so in that case, GPS will be very helpful to provide you the navigational information. It will help you to provide the exact location, exact position, and how much time it will take to reach the destination. Okay, so but for getting the better accuracy, for getting the precise information about the time, we need to have some better clocks. So GPS generally use atomic clocks. The atomic clocks having better accuracy, better precision in comparison to the normal clocks, whatever we use in our daily life. So GPS is about the positioning and time. It provides us the position, it provides us the information about the position of any object as well as the time. Okay, so the GPS its full form is Global Positioning System. It was first started by the Department of Defense sponsored project pulls satellite into the orbit. The first satellite of a GPS was launched in 1978, and in the mid of 1990 there were 24 satellites. Okay, and currently there are 28 satellites in the orbit, with more satellites will be coming in the near future. So GPS is a constellation, GPS is a network of satellites, so we need to have more and more number of satellites for getting the better accuracy, for getting the precise information of the location of any object on the Earth surface. Okay, so this is the starting of GPS. GPS is developed by Department of Defense, USA. Okay, And these kind of satellites, the satellites used for GPS is having specific characteristics. They are having specific properties. They are very high orbit satellites. Okay, and some of the satellites may be replaced every year because each satellite is having a limited time span, a limited lifetime. Okay, so for replacement of the satellites, each and every year new satellites are launched to replace the satellites which is not working in the GPS network, in the network of the GPS satellites. And it is important to know that total satellites in the GPS revolves in 6 orbital planes, and at least 4 or more satellites are required in each time so that we can get the information about that object. Total satellites are divided into 6 orbital planes, and at a time, minimum 4 number of satellites are required to get the positioning and accuracy. If there is less than 4 satellites, then you will not get precise information, precise timing, and precise location on the Earth surface. Okay, but there is a large gap to the North Pole. Okay, most of the satellites are not covering the North Pole, so it is very difficult to get the positioning on the North Pole. Otherwise, everywhere on the Earth, you can have the satellites. You can have minimum 4 satellites so that you can get the precise information, precise accurate location of yourself as well as the objects on the Earth surface. So GPS having various segments. It is having 4 segments. First segment is space segment. That is a constellation of satellites. The network, the system of the satellites are considered in the space segment. Okay, and control segment is on the Earth. It can be used to operate and monitor the GPS system continuously. The control segment continuously monitors the health of the GPS system, the health of the satellites, how it is working, is it working properly or not. Okay, if some satellite doesn't work properly, so control segment just send the replacement satellite instead of that non-working satellite. Okay, then third segment is user segment. All the GPS receivers and processing softwares are in the user segment. And fourth segment is ground segment. Ground segment is a permanent civilian network for reference sites. So there are 4 basic segments of any GPS. Okay, this GPS is a system. It is a constellation of the system satellites, network of the satellites owned by the US government. But in world there are several satellites, several navigation systems, several constellation of satellites, Galileo, GLONASS. Okay, each and every country having different constellation of the satellites, different networking of the satellites. So in India, we are having IRNSS, Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. Okay, in Russia, it is having GLONASS. Okay, European having Galileo. These kind of constellation of GPS satellites, these kind of networking of the satellites are available for different countries. So GPS was a starting of this kind of technique. So most of the time we use the term GPS, but technically GPS, when we talk about GPS, we are talking about the networking of the satellites that is governed by the USA. Okay, so now we will discuss one by one different types of segments of GPS. So space segment generally consists all the 24 satellites, and there are 28 satellites, 24 satellites in working mode and 4 satellites as a backup. If suddenly one of the satellite will not work, then out of 4 backup satellites we can just replace the satellite which is not working. So there are always 28 satellites. Okay, and out of 28, 24 satellites continuously works. If sometimes out of 24 satellites any satellite will not work, they stopped working, so we can replace by that satellite in the spares, that is backup satellites. Okay, so how the satellites are designed, how the constellation of the satellites. So at least 4 satellites in view from any location at any time to allow the navigation. Okay, it is designed in such a way that if you will get at least 4 satellites in view, like your GPS receiver will show you how number of satellites are available at that moment of time, at that moment. Okay, so at least 4 satellites at a moment is required for getting the information, for getting the precise location at any time on the earth surface. That will also allow you to navigate. Okay, so out of 4, the 3 satellites will be useful for getting the position information, and 1 satellite will be used to get the unknown locational information, like one station clock unknown. One satellite will provide you the time, and 3 satellites will provide you the positioning, x, y, and z. Okay, latitude, longitude, and elevation. So 3 satellites will be used for latitude, longitude, and elevation information, and 1 satellite will be used for getting the time, means how much time a signal, GPS signal, takes from coming to the satellite to the earth, and again from earth to the satellites. Okay, so this is a continuous process. Continuously the GPS receivers receiving the signals coming from the GPS satellites. Okay, so that's why we can get the right time, the right place, and right information at any time and any place. Okay, we can get the time information, we can get the positional information anytime, any place, because our GPS receiver continuously receives the signal that is coming from the satellites in the space segment. Okay, and at least 4 satellite is required to get the position and time. So the satellites which is orbiting in the space having specific characteristics. Okay, or it is very much different from the remote sensing satellite. The satellites used in space segment for GPS having different characteristics in comparison to the remote sensing satellites, like its semi-major axis, the radius is around 26,600 kilometers. The orbital period is around 11 hours 58 minutes. Means a satellite can complete orbit in 11 hours and 58 minutes. The orbit is inclined at 55 degrees. Okay, and the number of orbital planes are 6. There are 6 orbital planes at every 60 degrees interval. Okay, and there are 24 satellites, and there are 24 satellites in the space, and 4 satellites in the backup, that is known as spares. Approximate mass of each satellite is around 815 kilogram. Okay, and the lifespan, the lifetime, the life period of each satellite is around 7.5 years. So at every 7.5 year, any of the satellite of all 24 satellites will be replaced by the new satellite. So they continuously launch the satellite to replace the satellites. They have their completed their lifespan of 7.5 years. The transmission of the data, the data rate, how what is the rate of the transmission of data from the satellite to the ground station is around 50 bits per second. Okay, and the GPS signals transmits the frequencies at L band, and their frequency is around 1575.42 megahertz, and second L2 frequency is 1227.60 megahertz. So the GPS signals works on L band frequency. Whatever the signal is receiving by the GPS receiver, is it may be either L1 frequency or L2 frequency. Okay, both the frequencies will not be worked for the civilian purpose. For getting the better accuracy, some of the GPS receivers are there. They are only designed to receive both the signals. Otherwise, the normal GPS receiver, whatever we use in our daily life, whatever we have used in our practicals and other things, they use only the L1 frequency. L1, L2, both frequencies will be received only by some specific GPS receiver, which is designed for military operation, which is designed for some other, or you can say that confidential operations of the military and intelligence. Okay, so this is about the GPS space segment. Now control segment having different control stations that is distributed all over the world. Okay, here you can see a different location of the control stations. One station is at Hawaii, then Ascension Island, Diego Garcia, Kwajalein. Okay, so these are the location of different ground control stations They continuously monitor and track the position and the health and other information of the GPS satellites orbiting in the space. So all the control stations around the world is governed by US Air Force. Okay, the maintenance, the management, and everything is governed by the US Air Force, and they track the satellites, they track the health and other information of the GPS satellites working in the space or orbiting in the space. So you should remember the name of these ground control segments, ground control stations. So there are four places where they are having ground stations: Hawaii, Ascension Island, Diego Garcia, and Kwajalein. Okay, and there are some other tracking satellites. There are some other tracking systems. They are used to track the satellites. They are having the location where you can see here the blue dot. Blue dot having some other tracking sites, but majorly they are having four tracking sites, four control stations, ground control stations placed at four different locations around the world. So they can easily monitor, they can easily track the movement, that can track the position of the satellite, and they can also track the health, whether it is working properly or not. Okay, this is about the control segment. All the things are discussed in your last semester, so I'm not going in detail. Okay, so another part is user and ground segment. So user segment, like we are the user and we are using different kinds of GPS receivers. We are using GPS receivers on land, we can use the GPS receivers on sea, in air, and in any place on the earth. Okay, so the broader community, the broader user community of GPS receiver is for navigation purpose, for surveying, for geodynamics, in geophysics. We can also use it for remote sensing applications to study the tropospheric and ionospheric condition and time and frequency transfer. So user segment includes the GPS receiver, whatever we use in our daily life, or we can use it for different surveying and navigation purpose. Okay, and ground segment is having some global network. That global network uses a reference frame for coordinates, for orbits, and earth rotation. Regional permanent networks are established in Europe, Japan, and US for the densification of the reference frame. So they are also having different kinds of reference stations all over the world to track and to get the exact positioning, to get the improved and precise information about the location. This is all about the user and ground segment. Now moving to the next slide. But there may be several errors when we are receiving the GPS signal. When we are getting the positional information. So this positional information is also affected by several type of errors. That errors may be unpredictable or predictable. Some type of the errors are predictable, some type of the errors are unpredictable. Okay, so these are the sources of errors. These are the main errors that can be caused when we are surveying, when we are collecting the data sets by using GPS. Multipath error, atmospheric delays, dilution of precision, ephemeris error, clock, selective availability, orbits, GPS receiver electronics. Okay, so these are some common sources of errors. So I will discuss in brief one by one what is multipath, what is atmospheric, what is DOP, and so on. Okay, so the multipath error is very common error. It's a very common error, and it's a kind of, you can say it is a predictable error. Okay, so when we are going to collect the data set in the ground, when we are going to collect coordinates of any location on the ground, so the signal which is coming from the satellite is bounce off the smooth object and hits the receiver antenna. Okay, so that it increases the length of the time for a signal to reach the receiver. So that's why we should avoid collecting the data. We should avoid getting the latitude longitude near to the tall building. Here in this figure you can see the GPS signal coming from the satellite first interact with the tall building, then it redirected to the GPS receiver. So it will increase the travel time. So you will not get the accurate positioning there will be time delay, and because of the delay in the time, your precision, your accuracy will be affected. So always avoid to collect the data sets, always avoid to collect the coordinates near to any tall building, any tall wall rock, or any tall tree. Okay, so we should always go for surveying in open space, so that it is not affected by the multipath error. So multipath error is a common error, so you can reduce, you can avoid these kind of error when you use GPS surveying in open space. Okay, so it is a kind of predictable error. You can easily come to know that if you are getting some coordinates near to tall buildings, so definitely there may be some effect of the multipath. There may be some errors caused by the multipath, because the signal directly uh, not reach to the GPS receiver. It first interact with the tall building near to your GPS receiver, then again it will be redirected and bounce back from that building, and it will be reached to the GPS receiver. So it should be avoided by surveying by using the GPS receiver in open space. So it is very common error, and it may be avoided very easily. Second type of error is that you can see here, this is another example, another figure showing the multipath error. In both the figures, you can see how multipath error can work. Okay, signal, when the signal is not reaching directly to the GPS receiver and it interacts with the nearby objects, so it will increase the travel time of the signal to be received by the GPS receiver. So it's a kind of multipath. That name is very clear, multipath. Signal is having multipath to reach your GPS receiver. So this is a very easy figure to understand what is multipath error. Now the next error is because of the ionospheric and tropospheric condition of the atmosphere. Okay, ionosphere and troposphere are the part of our atmosphere. Okay, so when the GPS signal coming from the satellite enters into the atmosphere, it has to travel through ionosphere and troposphere. So the density of ionosphere, the concentration of electrons in the ionosphere affects the travel time. Or if it is a highly dense ionosphere, then definitely it will take more time to reach to the Earth's surface, because it has to travel more distance. If ionosphere is having less density, so the GPS signal can easily pass through that ionosphere. So ionospheric and tropospheric condition of atmosphere can also affect the GPS signal, can also affect the accuracy of GPS signal. That kind of error is known as atmospheric delays. There may be some delay in the signal that is received by the GPS receiver on the Earth because of the concentration of ionosphere and troposphere in the upper atmosphere. Okay, so it cannot be avoided easily. So for reducing the effect of ionosphere, we should select the time of the data acquisition. We should select the time of the surveying where there may be the less density of the atmosphere and ionosphere in the atmosphere. Okay, so in the next slide you can see here the delay of the GPS signal, that is code modulation and carrier phases. Carrier phases are greatly affected by the free electrons in the ionosphere. So ionosphere is having the concentration of electrons. These are the charged particles. Electrons are having charged particles. The total electron content, TEC, is directly affecting the GPS signal. So the ionospheric effect is increases as the total electron content increases. This is the density of the ionospheric particles. Ionosphere is made of electrons. These are the charged particles, and the concentration of the electrons is known as total electron content. In short, we call it as a TEC. So the ionosphere is a dispersive medium. Its effect is frequency dependent. Okay, so we can use different frequency signal. We can use different frequency to avoid the ionospheric effect. Troposphere is non-dispersive medium. It affects both code modulation and carrier phase. Okay, so GPS signal may be delayed. GPS signal may be affected by the ionospheric and tropospheric condition depending on the concentration of the electrons in the upper atmosphere, that is known as total electron content. In short, we call it as a TEC. And but there is the advantage of using this kind of study. Okay, by using the delay in the GPS signal, we can study the concentration of electron content also. Reversely, we can use this information to getting the ionospheric condition. Either it is affecting the GPS signal, there may be the delay in the GPS signal, but that delay may also be used to study the ionospheric condition. Delay may also be used to study the total electron content in the upper atmosphere. So it is affecting the GPS signal, but that error may also be used to study the total electron content in the upper atmosphere. Okay. So the solution for this kind of ionospheric delay is using dual frequency receivers. Okay, when we use single frequency receiver, it is highly affected by the ionosphere, highly affected by the troposphere and the concentration of the electrons in the upper atmosphere. To avoid this problem, we can use dual frequency receivers. So dual frequency receivers having both two frequencies at different wavelengths, that is L1 and L2. So we can average the incoming signal to get the better accuracy. If there is a only single frequency, it is highly affected. But when we use two frequencies, so we can have the average of these two frequencies to get the better accuracy and to avoid or to reduce the ionospheric effects. Okay, so the delay depends on the temperature, humidity and pressure also. Okay, this kind of ionospheric effect comes to rise when there is high temperature, there is high humidity and pressure. So mostly in the summer season, the total electron content increases in the ionosphere. In case of summer season, a lot of radiation is coming from the sun that charge the particles in the ionosphere. Ionospheric particles may be charged because of the higher temperature that, or maybe the solar radiation coming from the sun. So in summer season, most of the signals coming from the satellite, coming from the GPS satellite may be affected by the ionospheric concentration or total electron content. So we should consider first the temperature, we should consider the humidity condition and pressure in that area before going for the survey. Okay. Dilution of precision is another kind of error. It is the satellite's position that is relative to other satellites that is being accessed by the receiver. So what is the position of the satellite in the space with respect to each other? That is known as dilution of precision. Because all we know that at least three satellites are required, at least four satellites are required to get the positioning and timing on the Earth surface. So what is the position of each satellite with respect to other satellite is known as dilution of precision. So there may be different kinds of dilution of precision: GDOP, PDOP, HDOP, okay, and VDOP, TDOP. So all the kind of dilution of precision may have different applications. Like GDOP provides us the accuracy in three-dimensional mode, that is position and time. PDOP provides us the dilution of precision. Okay, HDOP is a horizontal dilution of precision. It can measure only the accuracy in two-dimensional position. Vertical dilution of precision, it provides the measurement of the accuracy in 1D position. And TDOP is the time dilution of precision. So dilution of precision, simply you just know that dilution of precision is the study of the position of the satellites in the space with respect to each other. What is the distribution of the satellites in the space? What is the position of different satellites in the space with respect to each other? It is known as dilution of precision. So if the satellites are not well distributed, if the positioning of satellite is not well distributed in the space, so it may cause some errors in the signal. So it should be less dilution of precision. Dilution of precision should be less for getting the better signal coming from the satellites. So dilution of precision is very important, and the distribution of GPS satellites in the sky affects how well I know where I am. Okay, how the GPS satellites are distributed in the sky, in the space, it directly affects the signal, directly affects the accuracy of the signal. Okay, the positional dilution of precision, PDOP, is the DOP value that is used most commonly in GPS to determine the quality of receiver's position. Okay, what is the position of the satellites? what kind of signals coming from the satellites are totally dependent on the constellation and the distribution of the satellites in the space. That is known as position, dilation of precision. Here you see, ideally these kind of constellations should be there. And position, dilation of precision means your satellites will be should be well distributed in all over the space. It's not like that it will be in the same side, like here in the here you see. Okay, here you see most of the satellites are very close to each other. They are closely uh, uh, positioned with each other. Okay, but here in case the satellites are well distributed, they are having good separation. They are having good distance from each other. Its position is very good to get the better accuracy. So here, if the both satellites are at the specific position, their distance are separated by some specific distance, so you will get very accurate positioning. Here x is the positioning. Okay, you will get very good and accurate positioning. And if satellites are not well distributed, they are very close to each other, so your positioning will be affected, means your accuracy will be less. Here the positioning is x, but its accuracy is not much in comparison to the previous constellation of the satellites. Okay, so this is the ideal condition. This green box is the ideal condition for getting the better accuracy. If your signals are coming from the satellites that is well distributed in the space, and if it is forming this kind of shape, this green shape, then it will be known as the less dilation of precision. And in this case, we will have good accuracy, good precision, good precise information about the position. Okay, so this is also having good geometry and bad geometry. So and yellow blue and yellow having good geometry because they are very far from each other. The positioning of these two, consider blue and green as a satellite. So these two satellites are separated very well from each other. They are well distributed in the space, so this is considered as the good geometry. In that case, your accuracy will be improved. Whereas if the two satellites, like red is a satellite and yellow is the satellite, if the two satellites are very close to each other, then in that case it is considered as the bad geometry because they are very close to each other. Okay, so your accuracy will be affected as it is having the this orange box. Okay, so if it is well distributed at a good distance from each other, that is a bad geometry, and that is good geometry having the this kind of shape green, and they are very close to each other, then it is considered a bad geometry that will cause some error in your GPS signal. Okay, ephemeris error is a precise positioning. The position of satellite must be known at the transit time. So errors in the prediction of satellite positioning are transmitted to the user in the satellite data message. Okay, the positioning of each satellite, the signal which is coming from the satellite to the GPS receiver also contains the position of that satellite in the space. Okay, that kind of information is known as ephemeris data. Ephemeris data means the exact position of the satellite at the time of data acquisition on the Earth. The signal which is coming from the satellite, the signal which is coming from the GPS satellite, and which is received by the GPS receiver. Okay, it also contains the exact positioning of that satellite in the space. Okay, so to undertake the precise positioning, we should also know the position of that satellite in the space. We must know the position of the satellite in the space. Without that, we cannot get the precise information. Without that, we cannot get the precise positioning of any object on the Earth surface. So the data that is containing the precise information, or you can say the position of the satellite in the space, is known as ephemeris data. Okay, but this ephemeris data is valid for only 1 hour. Okay, when you are collecting the data, when you are suppose at a place, you are collecting the data, you are collecting coordinates, latitude, longitude, and you are receiving the signal coming from the GPS signal. So that GPS signal is also having the information about the exact position of that satellite in the space. So that data is known as ephemeris data. Okay, So you have to download that data to process your coordinates. The precise ephemeris data can be downloaded and applied during the post processing. So for just you have to process your data just after collecting the data in the ground. Okay, ground data collect karna hai, then again you have to come to the lab, just you have to post process that data, because that data includes the ephemeris data, that GPS receiver having the ephemeris data only for 1 hour. After 1 hour it will be disappeared from your GPS receiver. It's a kind of temporary data sets, temporary information that is received by the GPS receiver. Okay, so it is very important to get the ephemeris data. Ephemeris data is very important. Without getting the ephemeris data, you cannot get the exact or precise information on the Earth surface. Okay, so if sometimes if we don't process our data set just after the collecting the data from the ground, so it may be the possibility that ephemeris data will be disappeared from the GPS receiver. So it will be valid only for approximately 1 hour, because GPS satellites are continuously moving in the space, and at the time of the data acquisition, at the time of the coordinates, whatever you have collected in the ground is only related to the position of that satellite at that time. Okay, but when you process that data after 1 day or 2 day, maybe that satellite moves to another place, maybe that satellite will not be the exact position at the time of the coordinate whatever you have collected from your GPS receiver. So ephemeris information is very important. It can be downloaded from the GPS receiver. GPS receiver temporarily receives this ephemeris data, and you have to download that ephemeris data, and you can also download that ephemeris data from the website. Okay, this ephemeris data is also available on the website. You can just use it for the post processing of your GPS signal. This is about ephemeris error. Satellite clock error. Okay, some amount of the drift is calculated and transmitted in the navigation message. So satellite clock error is also important, because GPS satellite is having atomic clock, whereas our GPS receiver is having some normal clocks, whatever we call it as a quartz clock. So there may be some drift, there may be some shift in the timing, whatever the timing measured by the satellite, whatever the timing measured by our GPS receiver. So that may cause some kind of satellite clock error. So we should use some GPS receiver having good atomic clock, good clock, so that they can be synchronized with the information, that can be synchronized with the time measured by the atomic clock in the GPS signal satellite. So the amount of drift is calculated and transmitted in the navigation message, and still it leaves an error of the several nanoseconds. Okay, although we are using good quality of clocks in our GPS receiver, we are using atomic clocks in the GPS satellite, but still there may be the error of several nanoseconds. Okay, so it is used. So for that we use differencing technique for avoiding this kind of errors in the timing. For avoiding this kind of error in the clock, we will use differencing technique. The Defense Department decode the satellite time message, reducing the position accuracy to some GPS users. Selective availability was designed to prevent America's enemies from using GPS signal. Okay, selective availability क्या है? Selective availability means the GPS, or you can say the control station of the GPS, they you can say they only allow the GPS signal by normal public or the civilian purpose with less accuracy. You cannot get the good accuracy, you cannot get very precise information by using the GPS receiver until unless they don't allow you to receive the GPS signal. So that is known as selective availability. Selective availability means you are using the GPS signal, whatever they are allow you to receive from the GPS signal. They you can say they modify the GPS signal. They modify the GPS signal, and then you will get the uh, GPS signal in your GPS receiver. Okay, it can be done on the GPS. The GPS, whatever we use, all the GPS is designed in such a way that they are not able to get the better accuracy if you use some military. And one important thing is that GPS may be of different types. Some GPS may be used for this you can say military purpose. Some GPS may be used for civilian purpose. So the GPS whatever we use for civilian purpose, for normal surveying, they are not having the ability, they are not having the receiver that maybe accurately receive the GPS signal. There may be some delay in the time. Okay, but the GPS signal, GPS receivers used by the army, used by the intelligence agencies, they are having very precise information up to the range of 30 centimeter. So this kind of practice is known as selective availability. Okay, selective availability means the GPS signals are only, the precise GPS signals are only available to specific users for military purpose, for this intelligence agencies. Otherwise the normal public, or the we are the normal users of that GPS signal, so we are not able to receive that much precise information, although we are receiving the precise information, but our information is not up to the accurate whatever they receive by the military operations, for intelligence operations and other confidential operations of the government of USA. Okay, so this is the satellite clock error, and it is very important to know that satellite clock error can affect the signal coming from the GPS signal. Okay, so in the next class, yes, tomorrow we will discuss about the differential GPS. Okay, now what is differential GPS? What are different types of differential GPS? How it works, and what is the utility, and what is the application of differential GPS, and how it is better than GPS. Okay, so this is all about the GPS, and in next class we will discuss about the differential GPS and different types of GPS techniques, different types of surveying techniques for getting the precise and accurate information of the positioning of any Earth surface feature or any object. If you have any question, all of you can ask any question, any query, and your LMS having the quiz, then you need to attempt the quiz on your LMS. And here, if you have any question, then you can ask for any query. Thank you.